Laura, we'll chat to you soon, and with me on the program now, Labor MP Ed Husic and the new Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister, Josh Frydenberg. Josh Frydenberg, congratulations first of all, a big day for you and your family.
Thanks, Kieran. Well, it is going to be an exciting day, not just for me, but for all the members who are going to be sworn in today, and it's a proud day for the Coalition too.
You're going to be sworn in on the same Bible as that used by Sir Zelman Cowen when he was sworn in as Governor-General back in the 70s.
That's right, Kieran. This Bible was given to me by Sir Zelman Cowen before he passed away, and it's very special. He was sworn in by Sir Garfield Barwick, who was then Chief Justice of Australia, to be the Governor-General in 1977, and I'm going to be sworn in on it today.
So it's obviously a very special day for you, and with that as well. And Ed Husic, I want to ask you as well, Josh obviously has Jewish heritage, you have Islamic heritage, but with all the focus on the number of women in Cabinet, there hasn't been a great focus on the ethnic diversity or lack thereof in the major parties, or in fact the Greens either. What do you think of that? It's obviously something that all the parties need to work on, isn't it?
I just want to extend some congratulations to my erstwhile sparring partner, Josh Frydenberg. I'm very happy for him at a personal level, and I think he brings a lot to the Coalition front bench. So I think, despite the, put the politics aside, it's good to see good people progress like Josh Frydenberg, and I'm very happy for you, Josh, and for your family as well. I think it's important that ministries do reflect the broad makeup of the Australian community. Obviously, you're right to point out that, or others are right to point out that merit should be the guiding principle in making up any ministry, but I think there are a lot of people talented from across all corners of Australian life, and I think you need to have that reflected in your ministry, to have a number of voices around the cabinet table that ensure your ideas are pressure tested, but also that they're reflective of the mood and the breadth of the Australian public.
What do you think about that, particularly, as I said, you and Ed, your parents all were born overseas, but to me it looks, when you look across the front bench of both the major parties, it's very much the small minority doesn't really reflect the ethnic diversity of modern Australia.
Oh, I'm not sure about that, Kieran. I mean, look, Synodinos, Greek background, Conchita Ferranti-Wells, Italian background, Erica Betts, born in Germany, who's the first person of a non-English speaking background to lead a major party in government. So that's a pretty proud record. And I think in our broader party...
But there'd be more to do, isn't there, surely, if you look at the makeup of modern Australia. That's a few, sure, admittedly, but... when you look at our outer modern Australia, it's very different to that.
Teresa Gambara, Nola Marino, you can go on. Look, we have a pretty proud record of being a representative party. We're a grassroots party, and Tony Abbott said that if we had been all our candidates had been successful at the election, the most common name in our party room would have been UN, and that's a pretty big statement from the party about pre-selecting people from non-English speaking backgrounds.
Ed Husic, your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the big focus has been too, in terms of diversifying the ministry on the Coalition side, is the fact that they made some really weird decisions when it came to people who do have merit, but also that are women. You know, I still don't get, for example, why room couldn't have been found for Kelly O'Dwyer. The only thing that I can think of is, if you join the dots from what's been reported, is Kelly O'Dwyer was one of the first people to consult or ask where was the consultation on process on paid parental leave last year or the year before. You fast forward to this year and they launched the paid parental leave scheme in Kelly O'Dwyer's electorate, and then the only person that doesn't get the most notable exception from the front bench is Kelly O'Dwyer. They couldn't even find a parliamentary secretary spot for someone who's been a senior banking executive, a senior person on Peter Costello's staff, and the only thing I can think of is that this is vindictiveness writ large when it comes to Kelly O'Dwyer, and then they lower the diversity within the federal ministry. I think it's terrible.
You've been promoted, Josh Frydenberg, I think entirely warranted, as Ed agrees there. What about Kelly O'Dwyer, your neighbour in Melbourne? She's in the neighbouring seat. If you have a lack of representation at the top of the government, as Tony Abbott himself conceded, he was disappointed there weren't more in the cabinet. Doesn't it make sense to then promote the up-and-comers, the talented young people like Kelly O'Dwyer, if you do want to even the balance a bit?
Well, Kelly O'Dwyer is a very good friend of mine, and she's a great talent, and I don't think it'll be very long before she is on the front bench. But in terms of the promotions that Tony Abbott has made, I mean, look, Fiona Nash has been appointed Assistant Minister for Health. Senator Michaela Cash, Assistant Minister for Immigration. So there are 4 out of the 11 women in the outer ministry knocking on the door of Cabinet, together with Susan Ley and together with Senator Maurice Payne.
Knocking on the glass
and I'm
ceiling
sure
more,
more
like it.
people will come through. I mean, the other point here is we've pre-selected and had elected to this election a number of outstanding female candidates, and I'm thinking of Sarah Henderson, who's come in from Corangamite, Fiona Scott, Lucy Wicks, Michelle Landry. There are many others.
But what about Kelly O'Dwyer specifically? Because she is seen as one of the most talented younger MPs, and she wasn't even given a parliamentary secretary position. Is that the right message to be sending?
Look, as I said, Kelly's outstanding. I don't think it'll be very long before she's on the front bench, and she's a very good friend of mine. But, it's a bit rich for those on the other side to be stirring this pot when it was the Labor Party, Kieran, who knifed Australia's first female Prime Minister. And you, Ed, were very much part of that. So I think you've got a lot of explaining to do if you're talking about affirmative action here.
Well, I think we can look at the makeup of our ministry. You look at Penny Wong, Kate Ellis, Sharon Bird, Catherine King, Julie Collins. There are a whole host of people that were in Tanya Plibersek, that were in senior roles. And the thing about Kelly is this is just it's very Maoist of Tony Abbott. It's basically, you target one and educate thousands. And he's targeted Kelly O'Dwyer because she's had the temerity to have an opinion of her own and to actually call out Tony Abbott's process or decision-making processes. And I think what Tony Abbott's sending is, if you have a thought of your own, if you dare express it, then this is the treatment that you can get. And he's also learnt that from John Howard. I mean, how long was Christopher Pyne kept on the back bench and away from any leadership position because he took on John Howard? I think this is a very bad thing. A very bad thing. It's a very bad thing. Well, the stats speak for themselves, Josh, and I think you need to have strength within. A party room has to have a strength and diversity of opinion.
If this is the major argument that you guys in opposition will make, criticising the makeup of our front bench, instead of talking about the policy ideas that were contested this election and were made very clear by the mandate we've been given, then I think you're on the wrong path.
And isn't the message as well, Ed, it's about stability. That's what Tony Abbott's trying to portray here, and he's doing it, from the get-go in terms of saying this is a ceremonial day in part, but it's also a day of action. He's going to get stuck in and get things done, but he's contrasting that with what's been a pretty chaotic few years.
Tony Abbott said Tony Abbott said before the election, I'm very happy with my front bench, and this is the front bench that will go into the ministry. And after the election, 11 of them go or are demoted. So, take him on his word, and he already fails the first test. The other thing is too, Josh, the thing about having a diversity of voices and diversity of ideas is that it's not just about the people themselves, it's what they bring to the table and the breadth of view. And your problem is that you've got someone who's been widely criticised as your leader who's out of touch with those views. So you do need to strengthen
He's so out of touch, Ed, that he's just been elected with a whopping mandate at the election. We're going to end up with 90-plus seats. You're going to have 55 or less. And you're now talking about the makeup of our front bench.
Sure.
I mean, today's a very proud day for the coalition, Kieran. It's a number of firsts. The first female Foreign Minister of Australia will be Julie Bishop.
And only member of Cabinet.
The first ever female Speaker of the Parliament for the coalition is likely to be Bronwyn Bishop. This is a proud day for the coalition.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back on AM Agenda.